What's up, y'all? It's nothing but a block drop tonight. The twist is we have a guest. He's going to provide some commentary for us. We're going to shoot the shit. See what we get into. Come on! What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the block. You already know what it is. I'm Jontel. Thank you for joining us tonight. As I said already, it's going to be some block drops. And I am actually, oh my goodness, excuse me. I'm actually joined by a guest, first time guest to the Leon Block, and I've been excited to have him for a while. Go ahead and introduce yourself, brother.
What's up? I am Terrayne Myrix. I host a podcast called Alcoholitics. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Nah, it's my pleasure. We actually met. It's been like what, a couple months now?
Yeah.
Through a mutual friend. Shout out to Barnstorming PA.
Mm-hmm.
I was just actually on their show a little bit ago, and then I had Jordy on like 2 weeks ago. Actually,
I was actually just on there. I believe either a week or two ago. I was on their live Monday show.
Nice. So what's new with you, man?
Nothing. Just moved into my new place in Harrisburg.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So that's taken up a lot of my time, and trying to like do as much stuff here as we can and try to see people as well. It's tough. So things have been really good. Not unfortunately podcast wise, I've been putting out less than before, but hopefully we'll pick back up.
Hell yeah. Well, I mean, you got to do what you got to do, and moving is always a tough thing. But I mean, I'm glad you're down in my neck of the woods now. That's pretty dope.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you have a podcast called Alcoholitics, where you get drunk and talk about politics. Am I right?
That is exactly right. That is exactly how it should be phrased. We get I host it. I co-host with my wife, and truly, it is me getting drunk and talking about politics, and her being either semi-drunk or sober and stressing about politics.
Yo, I totally dig that shit. You know what? When I look at politics, honestly, like the way that shit is right now, you got to take it with a grain of salt, and you can't get too upset at shit. And honestly, I think the best way to think about to think and vent and work your way through what is going on within our political realm, you can only get drunk to it.
Yeah. I swear to you, if I am just talking, if I have to talk about Joe Manchin and I can't have a drink, it'll be a fucking nightmare for me.
Oh my God, I completely agree.
So the only I need to have some drinks while talking about Joe Manchin deciding unilaterally not to do anything for the country at all. That's something that we need a drink for.
Now let me say this, because I'm gonna have you like give out some little tidbits of info as I'm going through this shit, because I like, since I was like, okay, I'm not doing anything with politics anymore, like, and I just like fuck politics for a while, and I just kind of faded to the background and have not like really been keeping up with anything as far as politics go. I've just been immersing myself in world news, right, or world politics, and just like maybe a little bitterness towards our two-party system. So like, I'm just gonna outright say fuck Joe Manchin. I can't stand his ass. Because like some of my stuff might not be like rooted in actual, factual things. It's rooted in emotion and like things that I for sure know, based off of like my last time really keeping up with shit. So like, you're definitely gonna have to inform me and keep me up to date of some things. And like some of the articles, mind you, everyone, y'all already know, I'm always dishing out articles from Democracy Now! You can go to democracynow.org and check out the headlines, read the transcript, or watch the video and get your headlines within like 10-15 minutes. So that is the only source that I actually trust when it comes to providing factual world news and politics. So that's where I get my articles from. And it does range in topics of things, but I'm going to start right off and shoot the shit right into how Senator Chuck Schumer endorsed India Walton for Buffalo mayor ahead of the November election. And I find that very interesting. Like, I consider myself somewhat a socialist. Chuck Schumer, but he he endorsed India Walton in the race to become the next mayor of Buffalo, calling her an inspiring community leader. She identifies as a socialist and stunned the Democratic establishment in June by beating four-term incumbent mayor Byron Brown in the Democratic primary. And despite this, Brown is now waging a write-in campaign. Wow. And in the November 2nd general election, and other prominent New York Democrats like Governor Kathy Hochul and Congressman Brian Higgins, who represents Buffalo, have refused to back Walton, as has the New York Democratic Party. And India Walton appeared on Democracy Now! Earlier this week, and she said, Buffalo's 65% Democrat. So anyone who's going to run a successful campaign for mayor here pretty much has to be a Democrat. But the values of our current administration have not displayed the values that I believe Democrats hold, which is putting people and workers and families first. I find that interesting. Like, I'm not surprised that the Democratic Party is not endorsing her. I'm not surprised that people are just kind of kicking her to the side. But I am surprised that why is Chuck Schumer endorsing her? Like, what the fuck?
Okay, let me tell you about Chuck Schumer. So I will say this. Number one, I love when any sort of political pressure moves the Democratic Party further to the left. I will be honest, I am a member of the Democratic Party, but I would consider myself more left than the mainstream, moderate, blah, blah, blah Democratic Party. Now, Chuck Schumer has been trying to straddle this line between being a progressive and a moderate, right? But right now, Chuck Schumer in 2022 is up for re-election. And Chuck Schumer, even though he is honestly in my opinion, of the age where maybe he should step aside and let younger people lead, he is going to want to continue. He's 70. He's going to be 72 then. He is going to be running. He is deathly afraid of a primary from AOC. He is horrible. So he has been tacking on every progressive, like the fight to get rid of student loan debt. He's been heavily on that side. The fight to kill the filibuster. He's been heavily on that side. He is taken to the left of every issue because he is scared to death to run against Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And you know what? Good. Fucking good. If this is what gets him to follow everything that we want, fuck yeah. I don't care. I think it's great.
I also think it's funny because now that you mention it and you like put everything in perspective for me. It makes perfect sense and it screams of desperation. I find that completely hilarious.
Yeah, he is a 70-year-old man who is so afraid. He is horrified of this 32-year-old woman, and he believes that she is going to take his job if he does not follow the, like, if he does not work. Like, he's in New York, you know. This isn't like he's not in like a bluish purple state where
Right.
he can have that. Like, no, he's in New York. And he will lose a primary. Now, I say that knowing that like Andrew Cuomo kept winning primaries over progressive candidates, but people are sick of Cuomo now, and he's gone. So I feel like the air has changed. But yeah, I truly believe that Chuck Schumer is backing Walton and backing progressive causes, mostly because he's afraid he's going to lose his job.
He about to lose his job. For real. Because I mean, like, look. Let's face it, all these old fucks are holding on by a tiny, they're old fucks, and they're holding on by a tiny thread. Let's face it, because all these youngins are now coming of age to the point where not only are they fed up, but you've also got a shrinking middle class that is pushed to the brink of like working their ass to the ground, strikes out the ass. I think you're right. The air has changed. Things have changed. And the way that he's being desperate in this sense is probably just a small microcosm of what is going on with other older politicians, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think that you can see, I would imagine that you can kind of see, like, there are certain politicians that are, you know, they believe that they can cling to whatever values and whatever, like, policies they previously had because they've been sick for so long. But then you do get the Chuck Schumers who are like, I absolutely have to change with the time, or I am going to be the dinosaur that gets just snuffed out by a meteor.
Yeah. You know what? I'll give him credit for at least doing that. I'll give it to him. But yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I'm bitter. I'm so bitter at all of these motherfuckers because this is my thing, is that they're all fuckfaces. I mean, I can even go in on AOC and Cori Bush even. I mean, I can't. But
I'm gonna say,
I'm so bitter that like even they can get it too. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that it makes sense that like anyone who is here's the problem with our political system. It's that you have to participate in our political system, right? Yeah. Like the big problem is when you step into the arena and you step into the House of Representatives or the Senate, you have to kind of, though you can still like. I mean, credit to AOC, Tlaib, Ayanna Pressley. They go in and they fight for what they believe in. But there is, unfortunately, when you're in that body and have to make those decisions, there are times where you do have to compromise some things. And we are kind of at the point where we're like, I'm fucking sick of compromise. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to compromise with the other side. The other side is absolutely stupid and wrong. And we actually need what are the concessions we're going to make about keeping the planet alive? Why do we have to do that? But people in power do have to do that because, unfortunately, there is a large amount of people within our country that doesn't seem to care if the planet continues to exist, and we actually have to work with them. So like I get there are times where you're just like, I fucking hate the compromises that we have to make, but I am very happy to see that there are young progressives in office fighting for shit that we absolutely need.
I couldn't agree with you more. What I do like about that is accountability, challenging the status quo, really challenging and pushing. We're at that point where we're starting to push the issue of the two-party system, and people are really thinking about other ideologies more so than in recent years. And so I think that is a good thing, especially for people like me who kind of feel like they're on the fringes of shit, and just looking at a shit show. And sometimes it's funny and sometimes it's very scary. I mean, well, all the time it's very scary, but like horror to me is comedic. So like I can watch a really fucking horrible horror movie and jump like to holy hell, but still find it amusing.
Mhm.
So like even though I feel like our government is a train wreck, I can still find moments out of it where I'm like, what the fuck? Speaking of, uh House votes to hold Steve Bannon in contempt for defying Capitol insurrection subpoena. Um, I've been seeing little bits with his face on it, and I haven't been following. So it's literally a short little clip here. Um, the majority leader of the House says Steve Bannon's refusal to appear, even when subpoenaed, is a demonstration of his contempt not only for Congress, but his contempt of the Constitution and his contempt for the law. It is unacceptable and obstructive to this process of uncovering the full story of that day's attack on the Capitol. Um, what do you think could come from this? Because it says if convicted, he would face up to a year in prison and a fine of up to $100,000. Do you think that realistically that'll happen to him?
Realistically, I don't think that he's going to be in prison for a year. I can see the fine. I don't think he's going to be in prison for a year. However, I do think that it is a positive that Democrats are saying, like and this is a committee that's with Democrats and then like Liz Cheney and fucking Adam Kinzinger. So they're saying you're not going to ignore subpoenas so that we can to try to stop us from investigating a domestic terror attack that happened right. on behalf of the previous president, right? So they're actually like putting teeth behind the word. So before, like during the Trump administration, when there were subpoenas handed out, they kind of just went, whatever, we're not going to do it, and then everyone went, I guess we can't do anything about it because we couldn't do anything about it. And now they're like, no, fucker, we're going to put you in prison if you don't fucking do it. So I think that it's absolutely great. That's like I do think that like I'm not saying that he won't spend any time behind bars, but I think people who are rejoicing that we're going to arrest Steve Bannon need to like tamper down those expectations. He's not going to be in there for a year, but I do truly think that they're going to arrest Steve Bannon, and I'm fucking here for it.
Hell yes. You like even just getting some images of him in handcuffs would make me just feel a little like warm and fuzzy inside for the day. Because I legit cannot stand that motherfucker. Like I can't stand him more than I can't stand Trump. And Trump hasn't been on my tongue all year. But Steve Bannon has come across my tongue a few times, I'm not gonna lie. Like he will always and forever be I don't hate people, but I really like loathe and like can't stand certain people. And him and like the president of Brazil are two people that like I wish I if I saw them in person. I don't know. I would do something really nasty.
Yeah.
Like they're just really I think they're like just really horrible people that deserve to go to hell if that's a real place or people believe in that. Like they deserve to go to fucking hell. I just want to like send them to Siberia and just say to hell with you. Like I really can't stand those people. It would be great to see Steve Bannon in prison, but you're probably right. So yeah, there's that.
Yeah, but like, so just a real quick side move. I also think that Bolsonaro is a fucking piece of shit. He's absolutely garbage. He's just a straight up like authoritarian prick. Like that's unfortunately that is becoming immensely popular with the right wing of this country, which is pretty horrifying. Where it's just like we want to be like Orban or we want to be like Bolsonaro, and it's like we really don't.
Right.
That's very bad. But like Steve Bannon, like the thing with Steve Bannon, one, he's awful, but two, there needs to be some sort of ramifications for Steve Bannon because Steve Bannon got a pardon from the previous president for swindling the previous president's supporters out of a bunch of fucking money. And like the idea that like they still back him, like he was the one who helped with that fucking Kickstarter wall fund and just pocketed that guy. like just weirdly enough, none of that money went to the fucking wall. It's crazy. So
Right.
like Steve Bannon it's been a long time coming for Steve Bannon. This guy like absolutely is 100% awful. He worked for Breitbart, which is essentially just like a merchant for absolutely garbage. I guess I don't even want to call it journalism because it's not journalism. It's just an outrage factory where it's like, hey, these are the people of color you need to be mad at today. And it's like, fuck off.
An outrage factor. No, that's fucking accurate. I like that. So wealthy nations try to dilute UN climate report ahead of COP226. The global summit. A major leak of documents published by Greenpeace reveals how much Brazil, Argentina, Australia, Japan, Saudi Arabia, and OPEC tried to water down a key United Nations scientific report ahead of the COP226, COP26 climate talks in Glasgow. In one comment, a senior Australian government official rejected the conclusion that coal-fired power plants should be phased out to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Wow.
What the fuck else are you gonna do? Oh my god. Like, I'm sorry. I don't like, it's so stupid. I understand, like, here's where what it comes down to is these motherfuckers want to keep as much money as they can or make as much money as they can. And that is a moneymaker for them, even though it is killing the planet and honestly is a dying industry. But they're just like, no, we can't get rid of it because we need it for it's stupid. Like there can be so much money in renewable energies if people would invest. And there have been some great investments that have yielded results, but we still seem to like want to continue on the path of let's use all these fuels that are going to destroy the planet that we live on. And we just kind of don't really worry about or care how it's going to affect those that come after us.
I just love how, I really don't, but I just love how people just like soak up and buy these packages of an illusion, but their gut and their health, their heart, their world is telling them, hey, this is fucked up fucking shit.
Mm-hmm.
You're being fed bullshit. They know this. They know that politicians are asshats. They know that the world is in like a fucking tailspin, but yet they continue to go to work. And like I'm at a loss. Like, I'm not gonna argue with anyone anymore. I'm not. But I'm also like at the point where like if anyone says anything to me about defending Bezos or just really talking about how poor people deserve to be poor or people on welfare can't have stake in I'm gonna smack upside the head. Like, I don't want to hear any of that rhetoric anymore. The climate crisis set to drive public health crisis and threaten national security. So the British medical journal The Lancet warned in a new report that without dramatic action to curb greenhouse gas emissions, that the climate crisis is on track to become the defining narrative of human health in the 21st century. The Lancet warns of the spread of mosquito-borne diseases and growing mass migration due to flooding, drought, intense storms, wildfires, and soil and water salinification. On Thursday, the Biden administration warned that climate catastrophe poses a widening threat to national security with the mass displacement of whole populations and increased competition over dwindling resources, driving political instability around the globe. First of all, the Biden administration is warning of this, but I want to know what the Biden administration's plans are.
So, and I agree with that. However, they're in the horribly named Build Back Better bill, which I argue is so. This is not making fun of people with a stutter, because Joe Biden has talked about the fact that he has a stutter, and he talked about it at debates, and that's something that helped him like humanize himself to the. I would say it's pretty fucking bold of a guy with a stutter to call something the Build Back Better plan. I think that's incredibly bold. This guy's got him. So, but he does. There are a lot of climate initiatives within the Build Back Better bill. The problem with this is we have to get it past that fucking asshole in West Virginia who seems to still have a sexual attraction to coal. Like, unfortunately, we can't. We only have 50 seats in the Senate. So we need all 50, and he's one of the 50, and he doesn't seem to care that coal is fucking the planet up. Like, this one, if you actually ask, this is the wildest thing that you could, like, if I told you back before we had candidates for the Democratic nomination, if I told you that that progressive Democrats would be backing Joe Biden's agenda, and specifically backing Joe Biden's climate agenda, you would have called me a goddamn lunatic. And I'm like, really, the problem that we have right now isn't Joe Biden, though I will say it is. I think he needs to put more pressure on getting rid of the filibuster. The problem isn't really Joe Biden. The problem is that there's a different Joe that's a problem specifically. Like the other Joe has the absolute veto power to stop any sort of climate initiative that exists in any bill, and he is flexing that right now, and that is a huge problem.
I do recall that Exxon guy that came out that was leaked. It was on Democracy Now! About him basically saying that they had Joe Manchin in their pocket.
I believe that. I believe they have ExxonMobil. They have ExxonMobil lobbyists that talk to Joe Biden. I'm sorry, that talk to Joe Manchin and are pretty close to Joe Manchin. And Joe Manchin, 100% likes those lobbyists. Like, that is true. That is a huge problem with the climate portion of this incredibly large bill.
OMG.
And this is wild because I'm like in a position where there are times where I'm talking about this and I actually have to defend Joe Biden, which I'm like, wait, what? Like, why is that what's going on? But truly, in this specific instance, it is not the enemy is not Joe Biden,
right?
It's Joe Manchin.
Right. Seriously, this is why I said I will say it. This is gonna be a Jontelism. Fuck Joe Manchin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it is what it is.
He is an absolute, like, just if there's someone who seems to identify the choice that is going to harm the country the most and then make that choice, it is Joe Manchin. And I mean that in a sense that, like, he's a part of the party that actually, you know, in our two-party system, the one party that you at least would go, okay, at least they're going to pretend to want to care about people, is the Democratic Party. Not Joe, not our good man Joe. He's like, fuck these people.
Oh my god, it's so fucking facts. I'm gonna go through a couple of articles real quick, and then we can just shoot the shit before we hop off. So, of course, all my headlines, generally my headlines come from Democracy Now! National Guard troops helped Texas law enforcement arrest over 70,000 asylum seekers. I'm not surprised. I mean, you know.
No, it's and though those were National Guard troops, this is one of those things that immigration is a subject that you absolutely can blame the Biden administration. They are doing a fucking horrible job. Immigration. They're continuing a bunch of the bullshit from the last administration, and it's awful. And that's an absolute tragedy.
That is the one thing that I'm really, like, upset about Biden for. Like, and I said, but when he was getting elected, like, I'm going to hold him accountable. I'm going to ride Biden's ass because he's more competent than Trump. Even though I know that, like, the president isn't the all-knowing and can't do everything, I still was like, I'm going to be very vocal about things with him. But when it comes to immigration, like, I'm just completely furious.
There are specific policies within immigration that Joe Biden unilaterally can fix. One of them being we still have this stupid, I can't remember what the title of it is, but we're like, able to deport people more easily because of a public health crisis, like a public health emergency. We're using COVID as an excuse to deport a lot of people, which is not that, or turn people away, which is absolute bullshit. And in a country where half of people are proudly unvaccinated and unmasked, I think we can fucking pull back on that. That's something that Joe Biden has, really, really failed at.
Yeah. You know what? I mean, I to be honest, I can't stand Biden, but there was a whole reason to why I voted for him over the other guy.
Yeah. The reality television host.
Yeah, there you go. That right there. So this is pretty crazy. A damning new report reveals the scope of the humanitarian crisis unfolding at the U.S.-Mexico border. Human Rights Watch uncovered over 160 harrowing reports of abuse faced by asylum seekers at the hands of U.S. immigration officials over the past 5 years. The internal reports, obtained through a public records request, were made by asylum officers within U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services using testimonies that derailed the brutal conduct of Customs and Border Protection, Border Patrol, and Immigration Customs Enforcement agents. So, part of a video accompanying the report, there's like 5 asylum seekers, and this is quotes from them. One said that they put a gun to his head and said, "Shut up, I'll shoot you." One said if they didn't give him sex, they would be if they gave him sex, they would be set free. One called them bitches, dogs, parasites, and trash. One said that because their child was a U.S. citizen, they would take him from them. In one account, a man from Honduras said Border Patrol agents told him that he would be denied asylum in the U.S., and when the Honduran man refused to sign paperwork, the agent said he would be sent to jail where he would be raped. Another incident involves an officer who forced a migrant girl to undress and then inappropriately touched her. In a statement, Human Rights Watch warned that assault, sexual abuse, and discriminatory treatment by U.S. agents are an open secret within DHS. Well, what the fuck?
Yeah, and the open secret comment, it's not even a secret. Like
Right.
there are numerous video, like unfortunately, it takes that kind of reporting to show the scope of like the specifics of what's happening. But these people are unfortunately being mistreated, and they've been mistreated by this enforcement agency for an incredibly long time, and it needs to, like, this is a situation where the executive does need to crack down on these people and stop them from assaulting and harassing and harming other people. This is something that can be done, whether it be removing the bad actors, removing all, like, every fucking body from this, and making people rehire people who have the ability to do it. Like there needs to be an example set, and it can't, like, we can't just continue to be like, we'll do something about bad people doing bad things and then continue to do absolutely nothing. Like
Right.
It is abhorrent the way that, like, again, this is, we pride ourselves of being like, we're America, we treat people with respect and dignity. It's like, we fucking don't. We don't do it very, very often.
Like, very few, far in between. Like, what are we really doing, y'all?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like half of this country is just a bunch of robots, and I don't know what to do with myself sometimes.
Yeah, I don't understand how, like, a country that, I don't understand how we can treat people with this amount of hate and harm. And then And then I'm just like, well, we do it to people from here too. We do it to everybody. We're bad. Like, we actively shoot. Like it's really awful. Like the ideals that we hold up that we so rarely actually adhere to. It's not good.
And you know what? It's just crazy that we're inspiring the rest of the world to do the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
So on a lighter note, what are ways that, because I asked last night, I had a comedian on the show. Shout out to Kendra Crump, comedian from Georgia. She was on the show last night, and I asked her what are ways that she does self-care, like what are things that she does to take care of herself. And I know that you're a married man, so what do you do to get some self-care or alone time for yourself, just to chill and take care of you and your mental?
I mean, being married and we have no kids, just cats. We spend a whole lot of time together. There isn't a whole lot of like. I mean, there are times I think my self-care routine, and this is true and probably sad, is what I'll do is I'll come into my podcast studio, I'll close the door, I put the equipment on, and I will play music in the headphones and sing along to it as loudly as possible. like my self-care all involves singing at the top of my lungs.
Oh my God, I fucking love you. That is the best self-care, dude. Like, for real.
It's so great. It's honestly great because it's just like it takes effort. It takes a little bit out of you so that you're like, if you're feeling a certain way, you put on a certain music and you're golden.
I'll let you in on a secret. Some of my favorites. I mean, I'm very eclectic and it ranges, but like I was born in '89, so like '90s shit is in early 2000s is my jams, right? Mm-hmm. So I mean, I can go anything from Korn to LL Cool J to NSYNC, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Backstreet Boys, and then go down the line as we go. Anything in between. I mean, Little Kim, like I love it all. But seriously, to scream my heart out, it's like NSYNC is definitely a favorite.
Yeah, they've got some fucking great hits.
For real.
Look, who's not singing when some of their shit comes on? You like if you're lying if you say you're not. You're lying.
For real. I'm big on like house music. I'm big on like early 2000s, late 90s neo soul shit. Mm-hmm. Like I like I said, I'm very eclectic, but music is definitely one of my, I don't do favorites, but like I'll have like a top 20 or a top 5 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's definitely up there with it. The music is definitely therapy.
Yeah. Like I was born in '91. Okay. I spent like my middle school, high school years. I listened to like emo shit, right? Like I listened to like emo hardcore shit. I was in a like an emo like a post-hardcore band. Like so I will just immediately go like to some of that shit. But I also like I've been 100% singing the shit out of a bunch of like The Weeknd's albums.
Yes.
So by the way, The Weeknd fucking got robbed. I can't believe he wasn't nominated for that Emmy. Got fucking robbed. But yeah, I'll go to that. But then like my mains, I'll go to like Taking Back Sunday or Jimmy Eat World.
Okay, I dig it. Totally dig it. So, I mean, I know that you're from Northeast PA, right? Or like North Central PA.
Yeah.
Do you like the outdoors, hiking? No. No.
No,
Wow, you said that pretty bluntly. No.
I'll tell you this. I don't like to go outside. You know what's outside? Bugs. I don't like them. Fucking out there biting me and getting all my shit. Like, no, thank you.
Oh God. Well, you know, us brown people, our skin is a little sweeter, so we attract them a little more. I'm not gonna lie. Like my grandmama, she's like, my skin's too sweet. I stay inside. Like, and I felt that.
I'll go outside if there's a pool there. But like if one of my friends like said to me, "Hey, Terrayne, do you want to go take a hike?" I would really consider whether or not that person actually has my best interest at heart. Like I'd be like, I don't know if they know or like me.
I'm done. Noted. That's, you know what? To each his own. I completely understand that though.
I used to love riding my bike, and then I stopped riding my bike, and then I started eating a lot, and now I don't want to ever sit on a bike again.
You know what? I dig that. I completely dig that. And as I'm like getting a bike to fix up so that I can ride to and from work every day, like I'm the opposite. Like I'm such the active person. Like, but don't get me wrong. Like I'm a homebody as well. I'm an introvert too. Like I need to be indoors just as much as I need to be outdoors. Like if I have just one or the other, I'm depressed. I also need to have like country life and city life. If I don't, I'm depressed. If I want just one or the other, I'm depressed. I can't. I need my balances.
It's
So
good
like I'm big on having those balances.
It's good to know, like to have that. Like, firstly, it's good to be active. I'm not trying to disparage anybody that likes to go outside. Look, I get it. More outside for you. That sounds great. Like, I used to like being outside, but I don't know what age it was like. You know what's inside? All your stuff. Why don't you stay there? But
For real.
No, it's like you're fixing up a bike to ride to work. That's some good stuff. Like that's good cardio. It gets you moving, gets your blood pumping, and it could be just like a nice like way to kind of chill out before and after work. It's great.
Well, honestly, I'm a little worried because I'm getting older. My knees might give out from pedaling too much, and I'm riding to a farm, so it's not like I'm going to go sit down. I'm going to be yeah. So I mean, not to downplay it because I am excited, but on the other hand, I'm like, should I really be doing this? How long can I milk this shit? You know, like the whole point of working on this farm is because like it's like herbs and stuff, so it's supposed to be therapeutic, and it is. But I'm just wondering if like the end of next week, how therapeutic it's gonna continue to be from me riding on the bike all week long.
Yeah, so like at some point, like, I don't know if this was worth the effort that I put into it.
Right. So I will definitely keep you posted on like how the end of the week is with my physical health and how long I continue to bust my ass on a farm. But again, the therapeutic benefits are great. Like I get teas, I get like tons of herbs and stuff. Like today I came home with a bag of ginger. So like I mean some people don't care, like what the fuck am I gonna do with ginger? But for me, like I've cooked with it and like I'm actually drinking tea with it. So
no, that's good. It's yeah, if you can get like stuff like that's great. That's absolutely great. You lost me at working on a farm though. That's something I can't do. I didn't like when I lived in Bloomsburg, my office was a 5-minute drive from my house to the point where I could have walked to work, but I 100% didn't. Sorry, planet. I do apologize for that. And then COVID hit, and then they're like, "Hey, Terrayne, how about your living room be your office now?" And I'm like,
"Right,
you're right. Let's do that instead." So, now I really don't have to like COVID. Really, like, unfortunately, COVID hit, and then I couldn't I couldn't leave the house because I was heavily afraid that I was 100% gonna die. So after like a year and a half, and I can go outside, I'm going outside a little bit more, not much more, but I'd say maybe a little bit.
No, I'm definitely with you on that. COVID definitely changed got me set in like some of the like habits that I already had that I'm trying to be more social, and then I sit in the house. So like I'm really like trying my best to push the envelope and like be more sociable and test the waters and go out and do things. So I mean that's where I'm at right now. I'm getting there.
Yeah.
That's part of my self-care these days.
You do it in your own, do it at your own pace, at your own time. You don't want to
Right.
you don't want to push something and be like, "Ooh, I just remembered how much I hate this. I'm not doing it anymore." Like,
Certainly not.
yeah, dip your toe. Don't go all in. Dip your toe. Be comfortable. Be comfortable, and then move from there.
Right. I'm doing my best. I think that one of the things is just giving grace, like not being hard on yourself. And I've always tended to be hard on myself.
Mhm.
And like now I'm just like, fuck it. I don't give a fuck. People can take it how the fuck they want it.
Mhm.
And it seems to work out pretty well for me now.
Yeah. I mean, the best advice is always just be you. Like, unless you're Joe Manchin, the best advice is be yourself. And
yeah, again, fuck Joe Manchin.
if you are Joe Manchin, your best advice is honestly try to be someone else, someone better, please, please, for the love of the country, someone better.
Don't be Joe Manchin and think about the planet.
That's right.
For real. So we about to wrap this up and get out of here. Terrayne, it's been a pleasure having you on here, and I so appreciate you, brother.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. Thank you. This has been a blast.
Of course, dog. Of course. Now, remember, y'all, check out his podcast on I believe it's on all the streaming platforms, right?
All of them. You can find it anywhere.
Bet. I am dropping the link to his Spotify, though, in the comments section. You can check that out. I'm also posting the link to Democracy Now! So you can check out the headlines there. Everyone, it's been a pleasure. Y'all be great. I love you all. Thank you so much, Terrayne, for being with us again. Definitely gotta have you on again sometime, and I would love to be on your show sometime too.
You have an invite. We'll figure out a date.
Awesome sauce, brother. Everyone be good. Have a great night.